Hey, everybody, it's Scott Steen with winnersandwhiners.com coming to you with the Sunday edition of Today in Sports Betting. And it's a bonus Sunday edition, Scott, because we got 3 NFL games on Saturday this week. Man, you look at this card, how can you not be excited about every single one of these games, huh?
Well, the only way you can get even more excited is by having one of those games and not even appear on television.
Which one's not going to be on TV?
The Arizona-San Francisco game is only on Amazon Prime.
Oh, is that right?
Not on television.
Oh, they're doing the thing. They did that with the
London games.
Yeah,
every year.
Yeah. So
it always involved the Jaguars for some reason, but this year the Prime ended up getting a potential playoff team. So I guess, but
sure,
whatever. I guess.
Oh, I've got Amazon Prime, so.
It depends if you want to watch C.J. Beathard take some snaps.
Oh God, you should be thrilled about that, huh?
I'm thrilled. We'll get into that in a second.
Yeah, I know. Let's get through the vegetables first before we at least work our way into all the sketchy meat.
Into the Dolphins Raiders turkey.
Yeah, that's about right. This is definitely some shitty ass Brussels sprouts here as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Detroit Lions square off. Up there in Detroit, Tampa Bay, 10-point favorites here, 54 is the total. Scott, usually we're talking about the players that are going to be gone because of COVID, but in an interesting twist, it's almost the entire Detroit Lions coaching staff that's not going to be available for this one. Everyone on the defensive side is basically unavailable, and their head coach is unavailable. Their new head coach, their interim head coach, man, can't make the club in the tub, huh, Scott? That's going to be a tough road to get that job permanently for him. So who they got coaching, Scott? Tell us.
They got the wide receiver coach.
You know his name?
I actually do not.
I do not either. Is it Stan Amendola? I don't know.
Yes. I will find that out right now, but all I know is that for the sake of the point that we're trying to make, let's just say that it's an inexperienced head coach.
Yes, he has very little experience. Scott, I'll tell you what, I don't know where the points are going to come from.
It's Robert Prince, by the way.
Robert Prince, of course it is. I've got the under here. Under 54 is certainly a play that I will enjoy for this one.
Truth is, the question you have to ask yourself is, with Detroit being Detroit, now with I'd say a shorthanded coaching staff, putting it mildly, do I really want to lay 9.5 with Brady and company after such an awful first half against Atlanta and such a ridiculously good half football in the second half? I'll lay the 9.5 because this Detroit team's defense is ungodly awful. I mean, it is abhorrently bad. Tennessee torched them.
Come on, you've got one more adjective in you.
It's despicably bad.
Ah, beautiful.
But I ended up having Tennessee in a teaser last week, which was easy. They just couldn't stop anybody. Tannehill had 5 total touchdowns, and I think Brady, despite not being able to throw that well downfield, I actually think they found something in the second half of that game. And even though Ronald Jones is expected to be out again, Fournette did a pretty good job getting 2 touchdowns in that game, so I don't think that's that much of a drop-off. But does Detroit stop anything well? They can't stop the run. They can't stop the pass. I don't know how they're going to get stops here, besides relying on Brady's old age to take the wheel.
Yeah, no, that's it's not good. You're talking about a team that's given up 148 points in their last 4 games.
It's bad.
That's, what is that, 37 a game? It's
very bad.
Yeah, that's not good at all.
And the thing you have to wonder is with Detroit's offense, even though Galladay's been out for about 3 months, what it feels like at least, Stafford's banged up, but he keeps playing for some reason. I know he didn't finish the game last week. That's mostly because of game flow, etc. But looking at everything else, do I trust Tampa Bay's defense to at least pressure Stafford and to force some stops? And the answer is yes. So for that reason, I'll lean to Tampa.
Okay, very good. I think this is this is going to be a game where points are going to be absolutely at a premium. I've got a
premium in this game.
Speaking of premium, I have a premium on the side here, but I do like the under. It was a very difficult choice for me which way to go on this one, and which one to make a premium, which one to make a freebie. So I'm
actually curious, why do you love the under so much?
Because I think,
Is it just because of the coaching staff? You think Detroit's just going to be out of sync offensively?
Well, I think they're a team that isn't that doesn't do a great job offensively as it is. I mean, they can score some points, but I think this is going to be one of the better pass defenses that they've faced. And
I figured you'd go with the Lions team total under instead of like a full game under there, because anytime you're taking the under in a full game with Detroit's defense, you got to cross your fingers every now and then.
Yeah, that's definitely true. So, but I just don't see both teams putting up a ton of points here.
That's fair. I'm just saying, I think if you like the under, I think you should take the team total under instead for the Lions.
Certainly consideration.
Cool.
So that's so what's the line here? Because obviously we don't have team totals out, or at least
I see around 54.
It should be okay. So it's going to be under 22, 21 and a half. You're going to get it under north of 3 touchdowns for Detroit. Yeah, that's a solid play as well. Although, they are kind of the kings of garbage time, Scott.
Yeah, assuming Stafford makes it through the first 3 quarters, and then Chase Daniel leads the way in garbage time.
Yeah, I mean they've put up 24 or more in their last 4 games. They've just been outscored in those contests. So
we disagreed on the total. I lean to the over personally, but it's my favorite spot is the side. I'm going to lean to Tampa.
Okay, very good. Moving on to our second game, and this is the one. The Revolution will not be televised, and neither will this game, as the San Francisco 49ers take on the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona 5-point favorites here. 48.5 is the number. This one, Arizona is the home team for this one. Scott, this is going to be a situation we talked about a little bit before the show started. Apparently, George Kittle's going to play this game. Any idea why?
They felt bad. I don't know. That they wanted to look somewhat competitive.
Does he have a certain chemistry with who's your guy? Who's your boy?
C.J. Beathard.
That's right. I wanted to give you a chance to say that because a lot is on the line for you in this one, Scott, because you've been calling for C.J. Beathard for like a month now.
Truth is, it's really not, because ever since I said it, Mullins hasn't won a game. So even if he looks awful, at least you tried something. Like, you kept throwing Mullins out for a month, and you knew you were going to lose the game before kickoff. Am I wrong? I feel like my take grew on you the more and more you watched Mullins play.
He definitely had his moments of being not very good at all. There's that's hard to argue with. My whole argument was I just think it's
a lost cause anyway.
You've got 2 rabid raccoons in a gunny sack. I don't care which one comes out.
I'm just saying, Beathard came in against the Cowboys.
Oh, well, stop the presses. There you go. I'm convinced.
Hail Mary touchdown. He completed a Hail Mary touchdown. He's making magic happen. That's what he's doing.
He beat the Cowboys defense. Well, shit.
For a Hail Mary, last drive, But no, overall, though, looking at this matchup here, I understand why there's money coming on the under. I would lean to the under as well. Arizona's defense definitely did not do a good job against Jalen Hurts. Having said that, Hurts is extremely mobile, and that has been an issue for Arizona's defense all season long. Beathard is not. So I do think that he'll have significantly less rushing yards than about 63. So I think Arizona should be able to keep him in the pocket. Plus, Arizona on the bright side of that defense did sack Hurts 6 times. So they do a pretty good job getting after the quarterback. I think the defense should do a decent enough job to stop San Francisco's offense, which is just battered. Mostert's going to be out. Deebo Samuel's already out for the year. Kittle's back, but you don't even know how many snaps he's going to play and how sharp he's going to look. This offense just isn't very good for San Francisco. I do think that Beathard will play better than Mullins, but I think the bar's been set so low that it doesn't really mean anything. And Arizona, they seem to struggle a little bit offensively against San Francisco in the past. And San Francisco's defense actually been pretty good. I know the Cowboys scored 41 last week. A lot of turnovers, a lot of short fields, also a special teams touchdown. San Francisco actually gave up less than 300 yards of offense in that game and still gave up 41 points on the scoreboard. This defense is not that bad. I'm going to lean to the under.
So you're gonna give me over 300 yards of offense on this one
for Arizona?
Yeah.
Yes.
You'll give me the over 300?
I'll give you that.
Okay.
But I do think that at the end of the day, San Francisco's defense is better than advertised because people are just going to look at the score and say, oh, they give up 41 to Dallas. Now, when you turn it over in your own territory 3 separate times and give up an onside kick return touchdown, your numbers are going to look a lot worse than they actually are.
I'll tell you what, they're going to have to do it without Richard Sherman, and they're going to have to do it without Jimmy Ward. And that's, to me, that's going to be a huge problem.
Huge problem, but Sherman, to be honest, has looked like a shell of himself ever since he came back.
Who's going to guard DeAndre Hopkins?
Oh, nobody. Hopkins is going to kill this team.
I mean, would he put Jason Verrett on him? Is that
Hopkins is going to kill this team. I'm aware of that. I'm just looking at the matchup.
He has 300 yards himself.
I think San Francisco will do enough to limit Arizona to, I'd say, 27.
Okay.
I see 27-20. That's the score I got for this game.
All right, so you got Arizona to cover here. Arizona's not been great lately.
I don't see the motivation for San Francisco besides playing spoiler to a division rival.
Yeah, no, that's I don't know that they've been a rival long enough for this to be a thing. You know,
it's even more demoralizing because San Francisco, it wasn't even a matter of them just being bad this year. It's the fact that everybody got injured.
Yeah,
well, it's got to be depressing in there when even more and more guys keep getting injured as you go along.
Yeah, I agree. The teams that have done well this season have been pretty lucky with injuries. You know, the Chiefs kind of at the top of the heap there. They've been able to, for the most part, avoid big injuries. So, yeah.
Packers as well.
Packers as well.
Saints are kind of in the middle because Breeze got injured, but the defense stayed healthy for the most part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they were for some reason this is a New Orleans team that's able to win without Drew Brees starting. Were they 7-1 without him the last 2 years?
Well, I didn't think Brees was good today, but yet they still won because Kamara went nuts.
Yeah, very, 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 very true.
But I'm in Arizona and only to the under.
All right, good. Let's finish it up with for Saturday's action with the Dolphins and the Raiders. Dolphins road team here heading out to the Death Star -3. 48 is the number. Man, what's that?
Carr's supposed to be back.
The last I read, they hadn't committed to that yet.
It seemed I heard it about 2 hours ago on ESPN. It seems like Carr is trending to play.
All right, well, because Gruden has been pretty cagey about it. So, all right, so we'll say the Carr is going to play. So, the question is, how effective is he going to be against this Miami defense, Scott?
I'm taking the Dolphins. Under no circumstance do I want the Raiders right now. Like, what have they shown me over the last 3 or 4 weeks or so, ever since the Kansas City game, that this team has responded well to adversity? You look at what they've done. They beat the Jets. Congratulations. Took an all-out blitz by Greg Williams and a touchdown for that to happen. Then you came out, and Carr, of course, had the injury, which was pretty unfortunate, which, you know, it happens. But I thought Mariota actually played pretty well in relief. But he had the no-show against the Colts. Awful. Defensive coordinator got fired, and then they ended up losing to the Chargers. This team just isn't good. I know that they had some good performances against Kansas City. You look at everything else.
Yeah, that's it.
I also forgot to mention the Atlanta game, which came right after the Chiefs game. You have the 37-point loss to Atlanta, the barely getting the job done against the Jets, losing by 17 to the Colts, and then losing to the Chargers. I don't care who's quarterback. How am I backing the Raiders?
Yeah, you can't. You can't. The only thing that worries me about Miami is they are banged up at the skill positions on the offensive side. Parker, Grant, Gesicki are all questionable for this one. So definitely monitor the injury situation if you want to play Miami throughout the day. They're missing Shaq Lawson. I'm not sure it's going to matter. I think this is a Raiders team. We've seen this before as the Raiders have a decent start. They're like, oh, this could be the Raiders year.
They folded already. It's December.
They've thrown the tents in the bag and packed them on top of the car, and they're driving away right now. There's just nothing to like about this Raiders team. Cleveland Farrell's out for them, so they're going to be even more pass rush challenged than they usually are, and they're usually pretty pass rush challenged. Yeah, I'm going to. I'll keep an eye on this one. Lean towards the over and lean Dolphins, just monitoring the injury situation there.
Yeah, for me, I'll lean to the Dolphins as well. I'm definitely more confident in the side than total. Total I'm torn on because the Raiders' defense is so bad, but Miami's offense is so just non-dynamic.
Yeah, that
I'm not sure if they're actually going to be able to take advantage of it fully. Like, I think if Miami scores 27 points, that's a victory for Miami based on how they've been playing lately. I'm going to lean to the under a little bit, actually, because I do think that even though the Raiders' defense is bad, I do think that Tua has some limitations, and the lack of skill position talent right now with the injuries is concerning. Miami ran the ball pretty much the entire game against New England. I think they'll probably stick to the same game plan against the Raiders, eat up clock, move the chains, and you know that the secondary is great, and I think Carr will have a couple turnovers. So for me, I think this game will be very ugly. I think the Dolphins should win this game going away, but I'll also slightly into the under, mostly on Miami, though.
Okay, very good. All right, Scott, on to Sunday's action as your New York Jets host one of the hottest teams in football right now, Scott. The Cleveland Browns are coming to town. Browns, 10-point road favorites, 47.5 is the number. Cleveland, Scott, they are on the cusp of or have they qualified for the playoffs? I didn't see how everything came out last week. I know they were I know if they win today, they're in, or they win Sunday, they're in for sure.
Well, the Browns are automatically fighting for it because they're still.
Well, I know they're still. No, I know they're still alive for the division title. Absolutely. I just didn't know if they'd locked up.
They did not officially clinch yet.
That's what I thought. The Jets, in true Jets fashion, won a game last week, Scott, when they probably shouldn't have. I don't mean they were the worst team and shouldn't have won the game. I mean, from a draft point standpoint, they shouldn't have won that game. But yet, here we are, because those guys are pros. They go out there to win. So are they going to have are the Jets going to have anything at all for this hot Cleveland team?
I spent the last 3 or 4 months waiting for the savior of Trevor Lawrence to show up to New York. And now I just have nothing. I just have absolutely nothing. I've Sewell, the offensive tackle from Oregon. That's what I have to look forward to. But no, talk about the Jets.
Justin Fields.
I don't like Fields at all. So I'm not sold on him being the number 2 pick in the draft.
I understand.
I like Zach Wilson more than Fields, if I'm being honest. But
I know you do.
Looking at this actual matchup here, I like the Browns. Browns have all the motivation in the world, especially looking across, seeing Pittsburgh fumble over themselves for the last week or so. Or I'd say, actually, no, a couple weeks or so. So Cleveland, if they win this game, has a chance to beat Pittsburgh heads up for a shot to win the division.
How about that?
You know, Cleveland's going to be all in on this game. Meanwhile, the Jets pulled off a win against the Rams. Props to them. Goff was awful. But, you know, it's Jared Goff, so, you know, you have a 50-50 shot of him being good or terrible. Mayfield has been ridiculous.
Yeah.
Over the last couple of weeks. He has been great, and I like this offense. This defense isn't very good, but I think it's good enough to get past the Jets. So for me, I think the Browns should win this game by double digits. So I'm going to take Cleveland.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's hard to put anything on the Jets right now. We stayed away from that game last week. I know I did. I think you did as well. I'm a big fan of what this.
I told you I liked the Jets plus the points last week.
Okay. I'll believe you.
You can check the footage.
Go to the film.
Go to the film.
I'm going to be all over that. Yeah, I'll take. It's hard to bet the Jets here in this spot.
The Jets already won their Super Bowl. They're not going to go into history books as being 0-16. That's all they really cared about. So I think they'll go back to being terrible.
Speaking of terrible, here's 2 terrible teams, Scott. It's the Bengals and the Texans.
Hey, the Bengals are surging. Okay, they won a Monday Night Football. They're surging right now.
Texans at home, 7.5-point favorites. The total on this is 46. All right, tell me all about this one.
I'm taking the Texans. Everything I just said about the Bengals was a bluff. I know that they won because Ryan Finley completed, I think, 9 passes, and they just accepted free turnovers inside of Pittsburgh's territory for about the entire first half, which is basically how the game went because the Steelers' offense is still broken. This team isn't any good. Based on how Cincinnati has played lately, the defense has looked a little bit better lately. I'll give him props for that. But Finley had one good game. He's still not good. And I know that Houston has had some issues lately. They seem to always fumble inside the 10-yard line against the Colts down in a one-possession game. But you know Watson's going to make stuff happen. You know that Finley and this Cincinnati team isn't very good just offensively at all. I got to lean to Houston. I think it's 7. You're looking at a decent push opportunity with some upside to win. So I'll go with Houston on this one.
I want no part of this game. None.
Neither why, but we're talking about it, so I had to mention it.
Yeah, I don't care.
I'm not betting this at all.
No, I guess I would lean Texans, but barely. I'd have a stronger play under 7. Taking the Texans right now, giving it more than a touchdown, you're just asking for disappointment. But
No.
and again, betting the Bengals, yeah, nobody wants that. So they won their Super Bowl last week against Pittsburgh. So yeah, I'll lean Texans there. Colts Steelers, Scott. Look at this. How the mighty have fallen. Steelers dropped 3 straight, and they have been rewarded by being a 2-point underdog at home to the Indianapolis Colts. 44.5 is the total. Scott, can the Pittsburgh Steelers right the ship here?
I'm trying to figure out how I don't make a separate video of this as a play of the day, roughly tomorrow night. I have to take the Colts. I mean, I don't know what line you could even put the Steelers before I'd consider taking the Steelers. This team is bad. Like, I don't know what happened here. This team obviously peaked too early, but that's just first grade breakdown level right there. I don't know what happened. Big Ben, I guess, just the offense insisted on throwing 5-yard dump-off passes every single play. 5 might be generous, might be 2-yard dump-off passes. They don't run the ball. This defense is still good, but they're also injured, which has played an impact, and they've been on the bad recipient of some pretty unfortunate field position because of the turnovers on the offense. It's mostly the offense. This team just can't move the ball. I don't know what happened to this team. Do you have any idea what happened? Because I don't.
Well,
I got to assume Big Ben's hiding a serious injury of some sort.
You think that about him every year this time.
I have to think so.
I think he's. I don't think he's good, Scott. I think that's the whole thing.
I agree.
I think the big thing that's happened here. They've lost. Not only did they lose Bud Dupree, but they lost Robert Spillane, who called all the defensive sets. And I think people underestimate what a difference that makes when you lose your signal caller on the defensive side of the ball.
Also, Bush earlier this year.
Yeah, and they were without Bush. We got Bush. They were without Bush, and they were without Joe Hayden the last couple of weeks as well. All those things make a difference. So now they're healthy-ish. I mean, they're still obviously without Bush, and they're without Spillane, they're without Gilbert, they're without Dupree. But I mean, for the guys that are playing right now, they are fairly healthy.
I mean, I'm probably gonna make a video on this. Spoiler alert. I don't know how I don't take the Colts.
I have a hunch that
Pittsburgh shows up for this game.
Yeah, that Tomlin has them ready to go. I think Tomlin knows this. He's coaching for maybe not his future, but this is a huge game. He doesn't want to be the coach that started off 10 or 11-0 and lost 4 straight.
I think they could show up. I just think the Colts are a better team. Colts are surging. I mean, if you want to talk about the Steelers and how they're falling apart, which is completely fair, and that's pretty much the main narrative that everyone's talking about on all the main media networks for football. How good have the Colts been the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, they've been banging, man. They've really been able to get the job done, and at a time when they had to step up, when they absolutely had to step up and take care of business. Of course, they didn't exactly they haven't exactly played world beaters as they took care of business against Houston twice and Vegas, but the last time they played a team of any caliber at all, they got left outside the stadium by Tennessee.
Yep.
I think Derrick Henry is still running for 7 yards against this team.
Mm-hmm.
But make no mistake, the Pittsburgh Steelers are nothing like the Tennessee Titans. I think James Conner, never been a James Conner fan. Great guy, great story.
If he plays.
Well, and that's his middle name should be if he goes.
Snell was actually decent last week, but he's been very streaky as well.
Yeah, he's been real hot and cold this season.
Yep.
I have nothing to base this on. I know that you're big on the Colts. I think Tomlin.
I'm not big. I just acknowledge the Colts are in much better form than the Steelers, and I'll back the current form.
Okay, good enough. It seems to me that's the safe play. That's the smart play. Of course, the money, the line indicates that as well.
I'm going to treat it like baseball. I'm going to back the streaks, and until I see Pittsburgh show me something, I'll keep fading them.
Can't argue with that. And like I said, this is nothing but a hunch that Tomlin gets them to show up. I base it on absolutely nothing except a gut feeling.
I like the under as well.
Yeah, that's solid.
Can't take the over with Pittsburgh.
Anytime Pittsburgh's involved, it's hard not to bet the under.
Yep.
Speaking of betting the under, how about the Bears and Jags, Scott? Bears 7.5-point road favorites against the Jaguars. Boy, there's just a ton of great games this week.
I'll tell you what, though, a lot of teaser potential this week.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, a lot of Wong numbers out there, buddy. A lot of Wong teasers looking to be played. Bears 7.5, 47 is the total. Minshew's back. And you're gonna be in trouble. Hey now.
Well, he was in trouble last week.
Yeah, not good. He was not. He was not good at all last week. These teams are playing for pride. They're playing for their coaches' jobs. Looks like Robinson is probably going to suit up for this one, so that's huge. But does it matter? I mean, for a minute, this was a Jacksonville team that kind of inexplicably hung around and was able to keep some games close when they had no business doing it. But that seems to have gone by the wayside. The Bears, dare I say it, Scott, they're in a what?
I don't know what word you're looking for.
How about a must-win?
Oh, of course. Sorry.
Bears sitting at 7-7 there in the North Division, and they're in a little bit of trouble as they trail three teams for the three wild card spots. They absolutely have to have this.
They have to have it. They need it.
They need it.
Yep.
I'm not sure if they're mathematically eliminated. If they lose, they'll be 7-8. Theoretically, the Cardinals could still lose 2 and be 8-8 as well. So I don't know who has the tiebreaker there. But suffice it to say, Scott, for all intents and purposes, this is a huge game for the Bears. Not so much for the Jaguars. Man, you want to lay 7.5 with another shitty team?
Truth is, I like Jacksonville plus the points.
Okay.
I'm not going to play it personally, but based on how this game I think is going to end up, the Bears have looked a lot better lately. But Jacksonville, I know last week they were awful. Baltimore's also looking like a world beater right now, so I'm not going to overreact to that one. But I'm impressed with the Bears because they barely beat a Minnesota team that just got smacked and gave up 52 points the next week. I acknowledge that Trubisky has definitely provided a bit of a spark for the offense, but at the end of the day, I think 7.5 is too many points for the Bears. I think they'll win, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Jacksonville hang around for a little while longer, and people are going to start panicking, going, what's going on in Chicago? Are they going to blow it again? I think they'll eventually win, but maybe by about 6. I'll take the points with Jacksonville.
I've got Trubisky fever, my friend.
Okay, welcome aboard. I'm sure Bears fans sympathize.
Hopefully there is a vaccine for that. You don't want to go through life with Trubisky fever. Allen Robinson's going to be back for this one, buddy. They've got their full contingent. Of course, as always, everybody on the defensive line is questionable.
Mm-hmm.
So until I find out about Hicks, especially to a lesser extent Mac, I'm probably not going to play anything on this.
Have you ever seen Trubisky play 4 good games in a row? I'm just asking. I'm asking for a friend.
Not till Sunday, buddy.
Okay. I think he might play fine. I just think that 7.5 is a lot of points with a Bears team that I still don't trust.
Okay. Good enough.
I'll lean Jacksonville there.
Yeah, it's hard to really die on the hill of backing the Bears. It truly is. So.
If it was 6.5, maybe. But 7.5, no.
All right, very good. Next up on the card is the New York Football Giants and the Baltimore Ravens. Another tough spread here, Scott. Ravens 10.5. The over/under is 43.5 in this one. The Giants, they're right in the thick of the race there in the NFC East, trailing Washington by a game. You know who else is in the race again, Scott?
Who?
The Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
Dallas Cowboys can actually finish out 7-9 and win the East.
Well, they need to win out, and they need Washington to lose out.
I understand. I know how it works.
I'm just saying that's the scenario for all of you at home.
Yeah, well, it's kind of the same way for the Giants too. They're both, like I said, they're both a game behind Washington. Although, does the Giants have the tiebreaker on Washington?
Oh, yeah, they won both games.
All right, I'll look some of this shit up. But yeah, you're right. So
I'm taking Baltimore.
You think they just run over them?
I think the Giants have a defense that actually could hang tough for a bit. So I actually like the under as well in this game. I don't know how I'm supposed to look at what Baltimore's done the last couple of weeks and just take a Giants team that might be led by Colt McCoy or might be led by Daniel Jones.
Do you care?
I actually do. I think McCoy's better. I'm not even joking. Can you imagine Daniel Jones facing this pass rush?
You know what? I broke this down on a video. Colt McCoy is not better. Daniel Jones, higher QBR in the last 2 seasons Colt McCoy has ever had in his career.
Oh, no. I think Daniel Jones is more talented. I just think against an elite pass rush, I'm more concerned regarding turnovers with Daniel Jones because I think he's going to be running for his life the entire game.
Oh, that's certainly possible.
From a point spread perspective, I think it has a chance to go really, really bad with Daniel Jones.
Yeah, too many.
That's all I need.
10.5. I'll take the Giants.
Yeah, if I was getting points, I would prefer Colt McCoy, honestly. If I'm laying, I'm hoping for Daniel Jones.
Okay, fair enough. I'm willing to take the risk the high with the low.
Do you agree with the under? I can't take the over with this Giants offense.
No. Yeah, would probably be a team total for me.
Okay.
At 43.5 is a pretty low number, although what are you looking at there? 17.5 for the Giants.
Not great.
Yeah, I'm not getting involved there. In second thought, I would probably be more tempted to play team total over on the Ravens.
That's fair.
Falcons Chiefs, Scott. Yeah, the Chiefs. Boy, this game worries me, and I'll tell you why. It's just the kind of stupid game that the Chiefs lose. Just about the time you think everything is on cruise control, this team will never lose again. Up steps some ridiculous game like this, and it jumps up and beat them. The Chiefs have been playing with fire for about 5 weeks in a row. They've won, but they haven't covered. 10.5 right here. For me, I got to play the Panthers. I got to play the Falcons.
Well, the spread isn't exactly thrilling to me because Kansas City hasn't covered in the past month. But Atlanta just had another really, really brutal second half collapse again for about the 40th time this year. I'd lean to the Chiefs, not thrilled about it. Truth is, I'd lean to the over. It's just a matter of looking at these two teams. I think Atlanta will move the ball because I don't think Kansas City's defense is very good. And I think Kansas City should have, I'd say, a decent amount of opportunities to test Tyreek Hill against this very below-average secondary. I see a lot of big plays. I think that Kansas City should move the ball, probably score 30-plus points, 35, give or take. I'll lean to Kansas City and I'll lean to the over.
I'll tell you what worries me about that. It's not just the fact that Julio Jones is out, but their starting center's out and their starting left guard's out. So
not ideal, but I know Julio's also been out for 5
Yeah, that's believe it or not, that's actually less concerning to me than missing 2 of their 5 starting linemen.
Yeah,
because they've shown they have an ability to score and win without Julio Jones.
How many choke jobs does it take for Atlanta to just throw in the towel in the air? How do you come back from that?
I don't know, man. I don't know. That has been a season for the ages. Chiefs going to be missing Damian Wilson, the linebacking core.
Of course, Hilaire's going to be out.
Of course, Hilaire's out for the rest of the regular season at minimum.
I don't think that really matters, to be honest.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to hold my nose and play Atlanta here.
Yeah, I'll lean Chiefs.
Okay, fair enough. And Broncos Chargers.
Fun.
Oh, I thought, yeah. Nick Bosa is going to be out for this one.
I feel like for some of these games that don't really matter, we can kind of breeze through these.
Chargers 3.5.
I'm going to lean Denver.
Broncos are awful.
Yeah, I actually am going to lean Denver. It's just a matter of I just don't trust the laying numbers with the Chargers. It's really the only reason. There's no other reason to take the Broncos.
Okay.
It's just a division game between 2 teams that are well out of it. I'll lean Denver, but I really genuinely am not going to put any money on this, so don't quote me on it.
Panthers and the football team, 42.5 is the total. It's a pick 'em, Scott.
Well, Alex Smith actually practiced, so I got to go Washington.
Yep, I'm with you. I think that's a anything you can do to be away from Dwayne Haskins, I'm a fan.
Yep.
Second pick 'em in a row, Rams and Seahawks.
Might surprise you. I'm going with the Rams.
That does surprise me.
It's just a matter of the Rams were so awful against the Jets, but they were so good in the couple weeks leading up to it. I just think it was a complete look-ahead spot where this team was just waiting for Seattle. They thought they were going to coast against the Jets. Jets punched them in the mouth, and they didn't respond in time. So for me, the Rams have actually fared pretty well against Seattle in recent years. I'm not exactly thrilled with it, but Seattle's offense has been really, really iffy the last couple of weeks. It's kind of ironic because Seattle's offense was really good and the defense was awful. Now the defense is very good and the offense isn't any good.
Right.
I'll hold my nose and back Goff because I actually think the Rams will put together a good performance in this game.
I'm going the other way. I'll take the Seahawks right here. Rams without Cam Akers. I don't know who's gonna run the ball.
Going to the under though.
Yeah, I think Jared Goff's running for his life all night in this one. I'll take the Seahawks under 47.5.
If I had to pick between the two, Seattle's defense has played well and their offense hasn't looked that great.
Yeah, that's
the offensive line should have serious problems protecting Wilson in this game.
That's certainly possible. Eagles and Cowboys, Scott. Kind of a what's that?
A lot of line movement.
Yeah, what do you got for injuries here? Tell us about the line move while I look for injuries.
Well, the Cowboys originally opened up at around -1 or so, and now the Eagles are currently -2.5. Of course, it's all aboard the Hurts train as the main reason for the line move. Hurts has been really, really good the last 2 weeks. I think everyone already realized that because they won't stop talking about it. Meanwhile, Dallas actually played pretty well as well. I know that they ended up beating two really bad teams in Cincinnati and San Francisco, but they have actually looked better. I'm going to lean to the over in this one at 49.5. Philly's defense is awful. Their secondary is banged up to oblivion. And Dalton, I think, is okay, but I'll tell you who actually has emerged. Tony Pollard. Pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, Zeke's questionable for this one. He could be back, but Pollard really had a nice game last week. No question about it.
I like the over.
Okay, that's a solid play. That's probably the way I'd go on this one as well. I don't want any part of this side. Line movement, no line movement. Jalen Hurts, I need to see it just a little bit more out of him.
I'd probably lean to Philly because the Cowboys are awful against running quarterbacks.
Yeah, and they're missing Van Der Esch again. He's done.
You can't tackle.
That's. I think he just got nicked up too much by injuries.
Oh, no, I'm just saying that Dallas, the team, is not a great tackling team.
Oh, yeah, no, not at all. All right.
Not him personally. I'm talking about the Cowboys as a whole.
Finishing up with what may be the game of the week, Scott. And look at that. It's on Sunday night like it ought to be. That's the Tennessee Titans at the Green Bay Packers. Packers, 3.5-point home favorites. 55.5 is the total for these two defensive stalwarts, Scott. What do you got here? What do you make of this one?
Yeah, defensive stalwarts. Okay. We're talking about Tennessee over here. I'm going to lean to Tennessee, plus the 3.5 here. I think Green Bay might be the better team, might not be. I know LaFleur's been a very solid coach. I still think Vrabel's better. But at the end of the day, the question is, can Tennessee run the ball well enough to keep Aaron Rodgers off the field? I think they can. So for that reason, I'll take the points with Tennessee.
All right, you think this Packers squad is going to struggle stopping the run?
I do. I know that they have gotten better as the season has gone on, but Derrick Henry is Derrick Henry, and Tannehill's also been really good the last couple of weeks. But it's mostly looking at Green Bay. I don't know what that performance was against Carolina in the second half. This team, under LaFleur's entire tenure, has had serious issues playing a full 60 minutes.
Yeah,
this team seems to play really well in the first half, then really poorly in the second half. Or they'll play well for 3 quarters and then fall asleep at the wheel. I know Tennessee's not going to fall asleep at the wheel, so I'll lean to Tennessee plus the points.
It's a huge game for both of these teams.
It's really tough. It's a tough call for both, so when in doubt, take the points.
Yeah, that's a good number. I think that's a sharp number.
I think Green Bay wins by 3.
Hasn't been much move. That's threading the needle.
It's razor thin.
And they in both these teams, Tennessee 7-7 against the number, Green Bay's 8-6 against the number. It really comes down to Green Bay's ability to stop the run. That's something that they, generally speaking, haven't been able to do. They stopped the run against Detroit, but Detroit has really nobody running the ball if DeAndre Swift is hurt. Gave up 4.3 yards per carry to Carolina, 4.7 to Philly, 7.6 yards to Chicago. That whoever does that, they should be fired on the spot. So, having said that,
they're going Green Bay.
This Tennessee offense defense is so bad.
It's awful.
It's so bad. I think it's worse. Them matching up with Green Bay, I think, is worse than the Green Bay rush defense matching up with Derrick Henry.
I can't argue with that.
Well, that's weird.
Rodgers should throw for at least 350.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. I'd like to see I want to see the number on that. It could be an Aaron Rodgers over kind of night. I'll take the home team that really wants that number one seed. They saw what losing the number one seed did to them last year as they had to travel to San Francisco. I think they understand the importance of it this time. I think this is a team that steps on the gas. And, every once in a while, Tennessee just throws up a stinker. I think this could be one of those. I'll take the Pack minus 3.5.
Okay, so we disagree on that one, but it's a couple of interesting lines, a couple of really big lines.
Yeah, there's a lot of teaser possibilities out there. So keep that in mind as well. All right, so that's going to do it for the NFL show on Today in Sports Betting. Appreciate everybody stopping by to watch. Of course, if you're looking for deeper dives into all of these games, make sure you stop by and check out winnersandwhiners.com, the preeminent site for predictive sports analysis anywhere on the web. And for myself, for Scott Reichel, for all of us over here at Winners and Whiners, once again, thanks for watching. Hope every one of those tickets in your pocket turns into cash money back at the window. You guys have a great day. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're digging what we're doing. We sure appreciate it. And we'll see you next time on Today in Sports Betting. Take care, everybody.